What's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I do hope you lot are all doing well today, man. I really do hope that. Oh, I can't even talk. To be honest, mate, disclaimer, I'm probably not going to be able to talk that well throughout this match review of Chelsea's 5-3 loss to Liverpool in the Premier League. What an incredibly high-octane, exciting yet disappointing game. There is a reason why Chelsea have been the neutrals' favourites to watch this season. This was quite the ding-dong. Goals from Keita, Alexander-Arnold, Wijnaldum, Giroud, Firmino, Pulisic, Oxlade-Chamberlain. So we're going to crack into this game, talk about what it means. It means Chelsea, firstly, have it all to do on the final day this weekend against Wolves. We need 1 point to qualify. All three would be preferable. Wolves are a very good team. They've still got a lot to fight for. Chelsea could have done something in this game. It was absolutely mental. We're going to talk about it in just a second. A quick reminder, if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing and joining the hype train. I upload every single day. Chelsea content, news, match reviews, all that kind of stuff. So please do sub, hit the bell notifications icon. And if you want to help me out, and in this distressful time, why wouldn't you want to help me out? Please drop a like on this video. Alright, let's get into it. So yeah, the ramifications of the result in this game were huge. Manchester United, of course, drew to West Ham, meaning that Chelsea only needed a point in this game to qualify for Champions League. And Liverpool didn't need anything, but they were about to do the trophy lift, so they were probably wanted to go out on a high, show their fans what they're all about. And to be honest, it's sod's law. Liverpool absolutely turned up again today. Well, they sobered up probably for the first time since mathematically becoming champions, and they looked like prime Liverpool, like they had done earlier in the season. Chelsea were, of course, as they so often are, architects of their own downfall, but some of the Liverpool goals were incredible, and perhaps a couple of them, or certainly the last goal, that was just by a good counter-attacking goal. Chelsea were vulnerable because they were going all guns blazing, understandably. So we're going to talk about all of this and open up the analysis screen. Right there, next to me you can see the who scored graphic, match center graphic from the game, showing you the statistics and everything that went down as well as the lineup. The big question was, what is Frank Lampard going to do in terms of formation for this game? Because Chelsea have played incredibly well against Liverpool with a 4-3-3 previously this season, in fact also beating them 2-0, but even when we lost to them, we've given them a game and have had narrow losses. Frank did decide to go with the same formation that beat Manchester United, the 3-4-3, and in fact the exact same lineup. They did look a little bit leggy, but Chelsea did rally towards the end, and I really want to say that's an important part of this match review. Although Chelsea have problems, although clearly they're flawed in the early stages of Frank Lampard's Chelsea project, but the important thing is they did rally a little bit and they believed and they went at it, and I, as a Chelsea fan, am proud of the players for doing that. It's, you know, massively important. That's what you want to see. They will figure out defensive flaws systemically. They will get better. New players will make them better. And even though Chelsea lost 5-3 today, people like, you know, Hakim Ziyech, Timo, Werner will look at that performance, look at that attack, how they rally together and be like, yeah, I can be a part of that, dude. So the 3-4-3 started, and Chelsea in the opening stages against Liverpool's regular starting lineup looked pretty good. In fact, the opening 20 minutes, they looked really smart indeed. They just got absolutely slapped by a couple of quality goals early doors, and then the third one, Wijnaldum, was a little bit unlucky, but it just showed Chelsea was shaky. Giroud did his thing and got a goal back just before the half-time, which kind of gives you the glimmer of hope, doesn't it? The just before half-time goal, you know, score 2 goals in the second half and you've gone into the Champions League. I was surprised at half-time Frank Lampard didn't make any changes to force the issue. He gave the same players a chance to say, look, go and pick up that last 5 minutes and carry on. You know, see, I wouldn't have thought he took Giroud off, but maybe he would have changed formation. But I feel like Frank probably saw the opening few minutes, 20 minutes, and said, this game plan works. Stuff went wrong along the way, but what we set out to do works, so we're going to carry on doing that. For me, changes needed to come sooner. When Chelsea went another goal down, he did get radical, which is nice to see. He put on Hudson-Odoi, who apparently has been training really well in training and did look very good when he came on. Pulisic, who of course is Chelsea's most dangerous weapon, and Tammy Abraham. And to be honest, man, it was all... Hudson-Odoi does deserve a shout out, and all three of them had an impact. But let's be real, it was Christian Pulisic who came on and absolutely immediately ripped Liverpool a new one as much as he could by himself, and pretty much continued doing so for the rest of the game while he was on the pitch. He created that goal pretty darn quickly for Tammy Abraham, where he like nutmegs, dribbles, wind in and out, scores a goal himself, and in between those 2 goal contributions, he nearly scores another additional worldie. He really made an incredible impact, Christian Pulisic. I said earlier in the game that I would have liked to see Tammy Abraham, although Tammy's been in poor form and Giroud's been in good form, and ultimately I was proved wrong because Giroud scored at the end of the half. In terms of general open play, it required running that game from both teams. Mobility, you had to constantly be moving. There wasn't a good opportunity for Giroud to just stand and bounce balls off the wingers. Both 11s were moving, and for that factor alone, I said this game is calling out for Tammy Abraham to play. Anyway, the youngsters coming on did improve the whole setup. Everyone was chasing. But, even though Chelsea had belief, they were vulnerable on the counter, and Liverpool, like I said, just absolute quality this game. They really turned it on, and it does leave Chelsea in a really vulnerable position going into the last day, which we'll talk about in just a moment. It does annoy me how Liverpool have been poor of late, and suddenly they just get these combinations right in the front three, click again with the midfield, and Trent scores a worldie free kick and all this kind of stuff. So let's quickly run through player performances and start with the worst, Kepa Arrizabalaga. Now, I'm not going to blame him directly for any particular goal. A lot of good goals were scored, and it was due to general defensive errors or Chelsea leaving themselves vulnerable by, quite rightly, going for the game offensively. So I'm not saying he's flawed for all the goals, but he just had a really bad goalkeeping performance. That moment near the end where he just needed to come out and claim that ball and just watches it go on the head of Virgil van Dijk, and pretty much every Chelsea player is shouting at him at that point. I know maybe he's rattled, but I've had enough, dude. I know he's got a good save in him and he's a good with his feet, but I'm done. Kepa no good in this game. Reece James was very, very good indeed. He started pretty well. He made very little errors, and he was one of those players driving on throughout the rest of the game and putting some immaculate balls. Fair play. Alonso was pretty good. He probably could have made one final better killer pass in the final third. Obviously Emerson came on later. And the centre half, obviously we conceded 5 bloody goals. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think of Rudiger had a bad moment. None of them were great, but there was no howlers. I don't really want to pin those 5 goals on one player, including Kepa, who generally had a really bad goal-keeping performance. It's just one of those games that I just feel reluctant to do so. Very difficult to judge the midfield. I feel like they probably could have done better. Kovacic had a few good moments dribbling out. Jorginho was pretty average, I suppose. Is that unfair of me? I know it's just a lone double pivot, so it's difficult. Because it's not like they were playing out of a Man City press together or a Manchester United press. It was a very different game. The sort of Gengen press counter-attacking Liverpool is very different, and it uses the flanks so much that perhaps Jorginho and Kovacic weren't in the game enough. Now, although Giroud scored a goal, and it was a good goal, and he's been excellent, I still maintain he was the wrong kind of player profile for this match in terms of striker choice. Perhaps he was the only choice because he's the only form striker. But I would have liked to, whatever, things panned out the way they did. But, no criticisms to Giroud whatsoever. He scored a great goal. It's just he is what he is. Willian, for me, was probably quite disappointing. His first touch in the first half disappeared. We all know what Willian's good and bad at. Good work rate, good industry. And usually he's got a really good touch. But for some reason, this was the game he decided to lose his touch. Mason Mount, I actually thought he was pretty good. I know he missed a couple of goal-scoring chances, but in terms of early offensive build-up play, I thought he was good. I tweeted that out. Loads of you guys disagreed with me. Fair enough. All the subs were pretty good. Of course, Tammy running onto that ball from Pulisic, good. More of a mobile striker. I think he suited it better. Hudson-Odoi did look very bright. I think the pressure was off because Chelsea were just getting hammered, so he could express himself. And of course, it was all about Captain America, Christian Pulisic, who just looked he looked probably the most threatening offensive player on the pitch when he came on. Literally, and that is saying something. So shout out to Christian Pulisic, mate. Trying to drag us single-handedly into Champions League football all by yourself, but you can't do it all by yourself, brother. Alright then, let's get rid of this analysis screen. The thing is, guys, this was a disappointing result. An exciting game for many, perhaps not Chelsea fans. But there is life in this Chelsea team, man. and I'm reluctant to be really down on this performance. Chelsea have got a good, exciting team that will get better. As things stand, we've got 2 excellent players joining this. They'll want to play that kind of football. We need to tighten up, but Pulisic's only going to get better. Tammy scored 15 Premier League goals this season, and we're getting a new elite striker. Hudson-Odoi looks like he's still an excellent player and could grow and flourish. These are all positives. We didn't beat the champions of England today, who played a great game. We did put 3 goals past him, but you know, defensively as a team we were really, really poor. We've got it all to do on the last day against Wolves. A point is not enough. Chelsea have got to try and bury Wolves. They're an excellent team. They can play so well. It's going to be very, very difficult indeed. All comes down to one last day, man. It's just incredible. There is I think if Manchester United beat Leicester, we can still go through, but we can't think like that. Anyway, guys, I'm feeling a bit somber about it, but I've got belief and we do move. Please drop a like on this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Sub if you're new. Enjoy the football if you can. And I'm out. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living. I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines. I rap through thought. Body bag the verse. Outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double, silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.